told a group of teenage punks in the late 80s that one day they'd make a Broadway musical, win Grammys, and have their bank accounts looking like Wall Street portfolios, they'd probably spit on your shoes. But Green Day, they did all that and somehow managed to keep pissing off the system the entire way. They've been banned, booed, blacklisted, and blamed for ruining punk. Yet here they are, still selling out stadiums and screaming about politics like it's their first garage show. This band gave us Dookie and American Idiot, got tackled by security at Woodstock, dropped a rock opera in the middle of the Bush administration, and turned eyeliner and angst into a global empire. So buckle up, because we're about to rewind the chaos. Before they were Green Day, they were just a couple of East Bay kids with cheap guitars and way too much energy. Billy Joe Armstrong and Mike Dirnt knew each other since they were kids.
Me and Mike, we met each other in 5th grade.
Bonded over music, and by age 14 were already forming bands with names like Blood Rage, which sounds more like a rejected WWE character than a punk act. But hey, puberty is weird. They eventually settled on a new name, Sweet Children. Cute, right? Until they realized that wasn't exactly the vibe when you're trying to mosh at a club called 924 Gilman Street, so they made a change. Legend has it, the name Green Day came from their shared love of, let's say, recreational greenery. You know, that little green leaf that gets people giggling at the fridge at 2 a.m.? Yeah, that one.
Got him!
Their early shows were loud, chaotic, and often underattended, but they had something. That raw energy, that we don't care attitude, and Billy's voice that somehow made shouting sound melodic. They played anywhere that would have them. Recorded their first EP with literal pocket change, and somehow caught the attention of Lookout Records, the indie label that helped birth the Bay Area punk scene. But even in those early days, Green Day was too loud, too catchy, and way too ambitious to stay underground forever. Punk fans didn't know it yet, but their favorite dive bar band was about to go global. And not everyone would be happy about it. In 1994, Green Day unleashed an album called Dookie. And yeah, the name was loud, messy, and unforgettable, just like its impact. This was the album that made punk radio-friendly without asking punk's permission. It sold over 10 million copies, launched them into MTV superstardom, and made teenage angst chartable. Basket Case, Longview, and When I Come Around were basically anthems for kids who hated their town, their school, and probably their shampoo commercials. But with fame came drama. The punk scene they came from wasn't impressed. Green Day was labeled sellouts, faster than you can say Hot Topic. And suddenly, the band that used to play basements was getting cold shoulders at Gilman Street, the same venue that helped launch them.
Huh?
Yep, they got banned from their own roots. Classic punk guilt trip. And then came Woodstock 94, aka the mud fight heard round the world. During their performance, fans started hurling mud on stage. Most bands would have panicked. Green Day? They threw it back. Literally. It turned into a mud, wrestling, crowd-surfing punk circus. Oh, and during the chaos, a security guard accidentally tackled Mike Dirnt and knocked out one of his teeth. Rock and roll, baby.
Okay.
In 1995, they released Insomniac, which was darker and louder. Critics loved it, fans bought it, but it didn't quite hit Dookie numbers. So in 1997, they switched it up with Nimrod and gave us Good Riddance, Time of Your Life, aka the song every high school plays at graduation, completely missing the point that it's low-key a sarcastic breakup anthem. They were evolving, experimenting, and quietly plotting a reinvention that would flip the entire genre. By the early 2000s, people were saying Green Day had peaked, that they were done. A one-hit, well, a 3-album wonder. The pop-punk flame had fizzled, or so everyone thought. Then 2004 rolled around, and American Idiot landed like a high-speed slap in the face. Suddenly, Green Day wasn't just back. They were louder, angrier, and more iconic than ever. This wasn't just an album, it was a punk rock opera with a storyline, a political edge, and songs that punched harder than cable news. Billy Joe had his eyeliner sharp, the guitars louder, and the lyrics screaming straight at George W. Bush's whole presidency. American Idiot, Holiday, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and Jesus of Suburbia. Certified bangers, Grammy-winning bangers.
American Idiot, Green Day.
It went 6 times platinum in the US alone and turned a band once banned from punk clubs into mainstream rebels with a message. And somehow, it worked. They followed it up in 2009 with 21st Century Breakdown, which tried to bottle that same lightning again. It wasn't as iconic, but it still charted like crazy, earned them another Grammy, and kept their political middle finger flying high. At this point, Green Day was doing the unthinkable, aging gracefully in punk. Then things got weird, in a very Green Day way. In 2012, they dropped a trilogy of albums. Uno, Dos, Tres, back-to-back releases that were meant to show range, but fans were like, y'all good? The energy was there. But the focus? Not so much. During this era, Billy Joe famously had a meltdown at the iHeartRadio Music Festival, trashed his guitar on stage, and went off because their set got cut short. Honestly, a punk response if there ever was one. Shortly after, he checked into rehab, and the promo for the trilogy tanked. The moment passed. Fast. But then came Revolution Radio in 2016, more focused, more grounded, and proof they weren't done yet. It debuted at number 1 again. And in 2024, they dropped Saviors, proving they're still loud, still political, still pissed off, and somehow still sounding fresh after 3 decades. From garage gigs to sold-out arena tours, and even a full-blown Broadway show called American Idiot. The musical, Green Day did the unthinkable. They stayed loud, they stayed pissed off, and somehow they stayed winning. They didn't sell out, they just learned how to scream in surround sound. Look, you don't stay in the spotlight for 30-plus years without causing a little chaos. And Green Day? They didn't just flirt with controversy, they gave it a nickname and took it on tour. The chaos didn't stop at the mud fight or the iHeartRadio incident. In 2022, Billy Joe straight up told America, "I'm out," mid-concert in London, renouncing his citizenship on stage after the Roe v. Wade decision. The crowd went wild, and back in the States, folks were typing, "Can you move to the UK with eyeliner and angst?" into Google like their lives depended on it. And remember how Green Day got banned from their punk birthplace, Gilman Street, for selling out? Well, that's not all. In 2024, they somehow managed to get kicked off 2 Las Vegas radio stations.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man!
After Billy Joe called out the city and the Oakland A's during a concert, radio stations Pomp 92.3 and X107.5 banned them. Yup, they stirred the pot again. Green Day doesn't just cause drama. They light the match, drop it, and walk away like it's just part of the show. You'd think after 3 decades of screaming about America, love, war, and whatever else popped into their politically charged brains, Green Day would have slowed down by now. But nope, they're still loud, still mad, and still packing stadiums like it's 1994 all over again. In 2024, they kicked off the Saviors Tour, bringing along heavy hitters like the Smashing Pumpkins, Rancid, and the Linda Lindas, proving once again that Green Day isn't just hanging on, they're still running the show. Oh, and did we mention the random subway concert in NYC with Jimmy Fallon? Or their chaotic, politically charged performance on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve? That's right, they rang in 2024 by dragging the government on live TV. Classic. In 2025, they opened the Fire Aid benefit concert alongside Billie Eilish, officially bridging the gap between grunge-era punks and Gen Z icons. Meanwhile, Billy Joe Armstrong is still out here multitasking like a caffeinated teenager. He's been performing with his side band, The Cover-Ups, and even dropped a new record with his OG punk project, Pinhead Gunpowder. As for the receipts, Green Day's trophy case is stacked. We're talking 5 Grammys, a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, multiple MTV Europe Music Awards, Kerrang, honors, Juno Awards, and a clean sweep of 17 California Music Awards. Like, at this point, they could start their own awards show just for fun. Now let's talk money, because Green Day didn't just make noise, they made bank. Billy Joe Armstrong at 53 is rocking a net worth of around $75 million thanks to decades of hit records, songwriting royalties, and side hustles like Oakland Coffee Works and his indie guitar shop, Broken Guitars. Mike Dirnt, who's 52 and about to turn 53, isn't far behind with an estimated $60 million. Between his own music ventures and a cozy cafe in Oakland, he's doing all right. And Trey Cool, also 52, is holding it down with a solid $55 million. Collectively, they're punk rock royalty with a net worth that says, being angry pays.